Why? Why are we getting up and going walking every morning? Here's one of the reasons why. Your lymph. So you have an opportunity today to put into practice a lot of the things that we talked about. Being good to yourself, not beating yourself up. So I want to know, how did you do with tests in school? Were they stressful? Were they hard? Did you love them? Did you ace them? Good morning, Shelley. Did they come back with a big red mark? Did your parents get frustrated with you about, oh, good morning, Linda? Did your parents get frustrated with you because you didn't get an A, you weren't good enough? Well, that test taking actually can be connected to how hard it is for you to create health. Because is what we can do is take those patterns from that experience and we can create those patterns ourselves in creating health. So let's talk about it. We're about to take a test, you and I. Now, if you choose, and remember, this is like, did you ever read those Choose Your Own Adventure, Encyclopedia Brown? I love those books. I love them. This is the same thing. This is a Choose Your Own Adventure test. So you can take all of that stuff about tests and project it on this test and beat yourself up, feel like you're not good enough, judge yourself, or you could do something else. And doing something else puts you in a completely different place of health. You could be good to yourself. You could love on yourself. You could say, yay, you're doing such a good job. And this is where we want to be. Instead of, oh, you didn't do that right today. And you didn't do this right today. And you didn't get your walk in. And you didn't do this and you didn't do that. So here is my simple lymph test. If you can't, I'm not going to right now because I already did mine. And I know where I'm at. And the whole walk with me thing, I'm going to walk. So if you can, or when you want to, take your shoes off and look at the top of your feet. Because the top of your feet are going to show you how your lymph is doing. The top of your feet, you should be able to see those tendons, and you should have little valleys between those tendons. And if you don't, then you've got an opportunity to do a better job with your lymph. Why would you want to do a better job with your lymph? Well, the reason is simple. Lymph is an unsung hero of health. And you and I, right now, walking, we're moving our lymph because your lymph goes everywhere your blood goes, but your blood has the benefit of your heart to pump it. Your lymph does not. The only way that your lymph moves is if you're lubing. You know what lubing is? It's moving at 5 o'clock in the morning. The only way your lymph is if large muscles are moving in your legs. Now, I want you to think, in fact, oh my gosh, right here. That's a good one. Okay, can you see that? Can you see that's the seaweed, and it's got a long rope, and then it's got this little oblong thing. Your lymph looks very similar to that in very microscopic form. And at the end of those little oblong things are like these little flaps. And for your lymph to move, you have to be moving enough that the lymph can push that flap open, and then your lymph gets moving. You know that experience when you're starting to move and you feel the pulsing? Part of that is your lymph. Why do we want our lymph moving? Well, the whole focus of this Walk With Me series is to build our innate immune system. I want mine stronger. I want it stronger. And so I'm taking more actionable steps to get it stronger. And your lymph has a huge role in that. Oh, there's a jellyfish. There are jellyfish everywhere. This last couple days, we normally don't see them. So your lymph plays a huge role in that. In that, part of your immune system is coming from the health of your lymph. So go back again to the top of your foot. Is your lymph moving? Because if it's not moving, it's not healthy. Now, not too long ago in the distant past, my husband couldn't walk. He was a recent double amputee. He had no legs. His stumps hurt. So we would have him lay on his back and he would do exercises to get his lymph moving. So almost any situation that you're in, you can move in a way that's appropriate to you and get your lymph moving. And if you spend time beating yourself up that you can't walk as long as you want to, or you can't run as long as you want to, that's taking those old patterns from school and beating yourself up with it. And that's what makes health hard. So today, while we walk, I want you to think of all the fabulousness. I don't know if that's a word, but it's my word. All the fabulousness that you have brought to this world. And I want you to train your brain to focus on it. So instead of, imagine we're coming to two roads. One road's going to go up. My dad used to call it the high road. The other road is going to go down. The downward road is the negativity that comes up. And if you've been in fight or flight response, that negativity comes up. So for example, if things are starting to go kind of nice and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? That's fight or flight. That means you've been in fight or flight for a long time. You have to retrain your brain. So on my walks, I retrain my brain. I retrain my brain to take the high road with my thoughts. And I practice saying and thinking all of the things that I can think of that I've done that are fabulous. Amazing kids. A kind heart. All those things. And I just focus on those while I walk. Because your lymph holds emotions. Interesting, huh? I think it's interesting. So we have to be processing those emotions. And when we move our lymph, it helps us physically, but it also helps us emotionally and mentally because we're moving that lymph and processing through those emotions. Now, the other thing about lymph, hormone balance. Let's talk hormone balance because your lymph is a huge player in balancing your hormones. And if you're not hydrated, lymph loves water. If you're not hydrated, lymph's going to be sticky and not move very well. So hydration is key to moving your lymph and balancing hormones. And when you start moving your lymph and balancing your hormones, cortisol levels go down. And is what happens when we're stressed, like chronic ongoing stress, or situational one-time issue stress, our cortisol goes up. When your cortisol goes up, the very building blocks that you need to make hormones, specifically progesterone, estrogen, and a little bit testosterone for us women, you take those building blocks and you use it to make cortisol. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you add. If you're living and not managing that stress, you don't create health. So you have to have tools, lots of tools. Walking the beach every morning is one of my tools. You need to find your place to walk. I don't know where it's going to be, but you need to find that place, because walking moves that lymph when you're hydrated. The other thing that moves that lymph is a rebounder. And I'm going to ask team when they come on today, I will share with you, there's 2 rebounders I'll share. One is the best of the best. Like, it doesn't get much better, but it is pricey. Another one, the next one, of all the rebounders I've tested, and a rebounder, it's the springs that make the difference, because a cheap spring, a cheap rebounder, can actually tear up your joints. We don't want that. So we want really good springs. So the second kind that I'll have team post has the best spring that I've found and the best warranty that I've found at the best price point. And it's a great rebounder. It's not quite as good as the more expensive one, but it's really good. If you've got a ton of money to drop, buy that expensive one. You'll love it. So rebounding, when, the little mini trampolines, when you go down and the rebounder's coming up, you've got G-force action. And remember, we talked about that lymph, how it has little flaps and you have to push open those flaps. So when you're rebounding, it's the most effective way to push open those flaps. So one of the things that I do after my walk, my rebounder, we have a ramp for my husband, and at the bottom of that ramp on the side is our rebounder. He uses it and I use it. And I'll turn that off. When you use that rebounder, it's the most effective way to get your lymph going. So after every walk, I rebound for 12 minutes. Why 12 minutes? Gosh, Kristen, can't you do a little longer than that? Well, 12 minutes. I'm super into minimum input for maximum benefit. Like everything I do, minimum input for maximum benefit. Because I have lots of things and people to love on. And so I just want to do the minimum for the maximum. Always. I'm always looking at that. And so 12 minutes on the rebounder, there's been a ton of studies. 12 minutes on that rebounder is the most effective time period to activate your lymph and move your lymph. The other thing that happens when you move your lymph is you boost your immune, you increase your energy, and you balance those hormones. So huge kind of things happening there. Now, let's talk about inside or outside. Now, if I had absolutely no options, I would not skip rebounding because I could only do it inside. I used to have my rebounder in my house and my kids would jump on it. Or sometimes I'd say to them, hey, skip this job, go hop on the rebounder, and then run. I'm like, yay, no dishes. And then hop on the rebounder because I knew it helped them process emotions. It helped build their immune system, and it helped to increase brain function. So if I only could use it on the inside, I'd use it and not stress. But there's been a ton of studies done on this. And when you rebound outside, you get more benefit because you've got fresh air. That beautiful fresh air that gives us more negative ions. And I think that's one of our topics coming up. I can't remember. But the more negative ions we have, the more tools we have to manage stress that's happening all around. But why do you want your hormones balanced? Well, another reason that we walk outside in the early morning with the rays of the sun as the sun comes up is because it helps decrease inflammation. Anytime you decrease inflammation, you're helping every single system and function in your body. Anything that will decrease inflammation is helping you to build a stronger foundation. So let's take it back to our lymph test. Look at the top of your feet. Are you going there with love? Or are you beating yourself up? Don't beat yourself up. Well, you can, but I think it makes the journey a lot harder. Just look at the top of your feet and think, wow, I'm so grateful for these feet. So grateful for the ability that I have to uptake information with my feet. Did you know your feet do that? It's powerful. I learned that at a whole different level when my husband lost his. You uptake information with your feet. So when you're doing your lymph test, it's a beautiful time to practice active gratitude and feel and experience, create internally gratitude for each toe, for your lymph, for your ankles, for your skin. And think, wow, this is where I'm at today, and I have a goal to get here by such and such a date, and walking in sunshine is going to help me get there. So you have the opportunity not to take all that old junk from tests. You didn't do good enough. It's not perfect. You didn't get an A. You're not enough. We're not focused on that. We're focused on all the beautiful things you are doing for yourself. Look at you. You showed up for this, to learn, to educate yourself, to be with other women who take action so that you can be inspired by their action. But if you don't share, you can't help anyone. So I want to know, share with me, what action have you taken since we started this walk with me that you have noticed a direct benefit from your action? Share with me so that I can celebrate you, so that I can know I'm hanging out with women who are focused on bigger things, on creating better health so they can show up as the best version of themselves. And that's why we walk in the morning. Okay. Yeah, the cheapy, Christy, thank you so much. The cheap rebounders are garbage on your joints, on your knees especially, and they've been shown to do more long-term damage. And that's another one of my principles that I live by. I don't do short-term fixes. My Diet Coke habit was a short-term fix. I drank Diet Coke to give me more energy, but in the long term, it didn't help me create better health. And a cheap rebounder, I would actually skip because it's been shown to do long-term damage and it's those darn springs. So there's two. I actually have the second one. I don't have the super expensive one. I've jumped on them though. They're amazing. But the second one, even with my bone on bone spots in my knees, I do really well with it. And so the two are really good. But we want to skip those cheap ones because we're into long-term solutions, right? We're into doing things to build ourselves today to benefit us in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and tomorrow. Let's not forget tomorrow. So I cannot wait to go browse through the comment section and see what you're doing, because I'm literally going to celebrate. I'm going to put on maybe some Andy Grammer music, and I'm going to celebrate what you're doing to be healthy. Those things that you've added, those things that you're saying, I'm doing this today, no matter what. I'm taking care of me so that I can show up as the best version of myself. So let's recap those. Hydration for lymph, walking for lymph, rebounding for lymph. Are there others? Heck yes. But those are the three we're going to focus on today, and my favorite three. So remember, when your hormones are not balanced, if your whole family knows your cycle is about to start because you're teary or cranky, that's not balanced hormones. And when your hormones are not balanced, those hormones help keep inflammation in check. It's crucial. And so that's a great indication that your lymph needs work. If you're more on my end of life, perimenopause or menopause like I am, and your family doesn't want to hang out with you anymore, or those people that love you are like, ugh, balanced hormones. And you need that hormone balance to keep inflammation balanced. That's part of what your body does for you with good hormones. And hormone balance is in your lymph. So check the top of your feet. Look, we don't want them puffy. We don't want them, we want that valley. There's those tendons, and we want a little valley in between those tendons. That's lymph that's moving, processing emotion, building your innate immune response. Because we can't control external viruses. We can control how strong our innate immune system is. And building a strong lymph is part of it. My name's Kristen Bowen. I'm the founder of Living the Good Life Naturally. And this series called Walk With Me is happening all of July. The end of July, we'll take all the videos down. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that you have learned things. But more than that, I hope you have taken some micro action. Healthy women take action. If you learn something, take action on it. It doesn't have to be big and gargantuan. Just take a micro action. And by doing that, you build your trust bank. And really, that's super important when it comes to creating health. Have the best day. I'm going to go finish my walk and then jump on my rebounder. Bye-bye.